What is your first reaction to this obvious endorsement from Moody's?
Well, I think this has two effects. And first thing is that, see, it will reduce the cost of capital for India when we borrow abroad, and reduce the cost of capital for Indian companies when they borrow abroad, because a lot of Indian companies could not get low rates of interest because they could not get a rating below which was higher than the Indian government's rating. And see, financially, this is the effect, I think, and long term, a lot of institutions abroad who did not invest in India because of the rating will now be eligible to invest in India as per their norm. But I think the more important thing to my mind is the fact that it is a recognition that the reforms that the government is taking is going to ultimately improve everything in this country. Growth, fiscal deficit, per capita income. I think that's the more important part. Already, under the Moody government, we have raised the tax to GDP ratio by about 200 basis points, from about 16% to about 18%. And, we feel that this will go to 20%. A lot of broker estimates say by 2020. So, all in all, for me, it's a very big recognition of the direction that the government has set for the economy. And also the feeling that further reforms will come, and the reforms already initiated, although, temporarily disruptive, are ultimately going to lead to very good economic growth and improvement in the country.
Mr. Jhunjhunwala, if I look at the India positioning, we've got solid inflows into the debt market, we've got solid inflows into the equity market. So some would argue that rating agency upgrade is important, but frankly the smart money has already invested in India.
See, it's not question of smart money or non-smart money. The question is that it is a recognition of the fact of the direction that this country is taking. Now, all the critics of the economic growth of the Modi government, please shut up. Right? It is a clear recognition that whatever the government has done, it is already, it is going to lead to improved growth, improved performance, higher tax to GDP. So, the recognition by a major institution of the reform, of the direction that India is taking, I think is very important.
So, do you think this is
I think everybody, I think the market is also silently, recognizing that.
So, for those who said, okay, macros are getting bad, we should look at, locking out of India stories, all those concerns, I guess the Moody's upgrade has really put to rest.
But, yeah, it's put to rest because you had your ease of doing business improving, right? Now you have an upgrade. So this is all recognition of the fact that whatever India is doing is going to pay, is paying, and will pay very hefty dividends economically. And that a fiscal position, will be under control. And the tax to GDP ratio should go up.
Right. Mr. Jhunjhunwala, good morning, sir. Tanveer also joining into this discussion. You made a very important point about how this also opens a window of opportunities for companies in India borrowing abroad, and they can negotiate better rates for those borrowings. It also, in many ways, sir, even though we've seen good money come into the markets, it also calls in for sticky capital to now come into India, because the rest of the world and most of other emerging markets in the last 8 years, I mean, to my mind, sir, this is the first upgrade that's come in since the credit crisis for any major sovereign. Otherwise, other emerging markets have been downgraded to junk. So in a meaningful manner, it helps the corporate debt market and the bond market in India, you think?
Well, it's hopeful. India was attracting a lot of money. This will help further money coming. But for me, what's more important is it's a recognition of the direction that this company has set up, this country is taking, and approval or a recognition of the economic effects of the policy of the Moody government. See, this rating upgrade is wise because of they feel the economy will get formalized. GST will help to raise tax to GDP ratio. It will help ease of business in India. Bankruptcy law will improve credit costs in India. Bank recapitalization will allow credit to flow. So I think the most important aspect of this change is, of course, there's economic. Is the recognition that the economy, that the direction the government is giving to the economy is very positive. I think that's the most important part. Of course, it will lead to some more money coming, lower interest rates. But I think that's not as important as the recognition of what the government is.
Mr. Jhunjhunwala, the last 1 year has seen the government take extremely bold reforms. I mean, there's a list of them, starting from demonetization, GST, etc. Lots about infrastructure as well. But would you say that recent moves, that is the PSU Bank recapitalization, was the one which may have prompted the rating agency to upgrade us?
Ma'am, I'm no economist, and I don't know, that if there is a, series of events on a buffet which leads to what. So I think it's a series of events. No, I can't say which one is more important.
But Mr. Jhunjhunwala, do you think the recap of PSU Bank perhaps is a bold, strong, and something which could be called as if not big, a reform as big as what happened with GST and demonetization?
No, I don't think it's more important than GST or the bankruptcy or demonetization.
So things, when the day Moody government got sworn in, Mr. Jhunjhunwala, we interacted on the same forum and you said the mother of a bull market lies ahead of us. I guess what you told us 2.5 years ago is now playing out as an economic reality.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is only, बोलते हैं ना अभी आगे देखो होता है क्या, this is only the trailer.
तो सर आगे क्या होता है, आपको क्या लगता है?
I am bullish.
Okay.
Market could correct, but just as I told Reuters, I am bullish. Market has gone from 6,800 to 10,500 without any serious correction. So market could correct, but the bull market is not going anywhere. It's going to remain here for a long time.
Allow me to just skip my mandate and ask you a question on earnings, and I promise that will be the last question.
Please, sir, I don't want to say anything except Moody.